How did it all start for you along the road to this great bastion of influence where you ended up?
You're really kind. Do you want a day? Because mine is really unusual.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, some who've heard me talk about it, it really started at home with my parents at the dinner table. So I had parents who were public servants. My father was an engineer, my mother was a nurse. And to complement their income, they invested in the Nigerian stock market. And my dad, for those who know my dad will understand this, after dinner, my siblings and I took turns to read the annual reports of the companies that they had invested in.
How old were you then?
I was 8, that I remember. And I remember being a bit rebellious about, after dinner, reading these very technical...
Very boring.
Yes.
For an 8-year-old.
That's what I thought at the time.
Yeah.
My father being an engineer, he tried to get my 2 older sisters to become engineers, and they didn't become engineers, so I was the next target. And so when it was time to think about careers, he automatically assumed that I would become an engineer. I was in boarding school here in Nigeria at one of the Unity colleges, the Federal Government Girls College, Owerri. And that's another early foundation that was phenomenal in who I've become. So I went to the career counselor. We had career counselors at the time in my final year in secondary school, and I said, I have a secret to share with you, which please, my parents can't hear about this. My mother wants me to be a medical doctor. My father wants me to be an engineer. I don't want to be near a hospital because it's just, it's very emotional for me. Even when I've gone to spend time and wait for my mother, it's just been difficult. An engineer, my father lived his life by engineering principles. Everything was straight and square, and I just really wanted a little flexibility in my life. And he says, okay, well, let's talk about what you'd like to do. And I said,
I'd like to count money.
No, I didn't even say that at the time. I didn't actually say that at the time. I said I wanted to be an inventor. And she's like, an inventor? I said, yes, of something scientific. I loved Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, and I really wanted to change the world in that way. And she's like, okay, you're obviously very good in science, but let's think about what you could do. So we went through all various careers, and she talked about computer science. And I thought, this is new, this is modern. I mean, this is 1979. And I thought that's what I would do. And got a first degree in computer science. My parents thought I should just go and do a PhD. She loves to read, she's very intellectual. But I'm always somebody who wanted some independence. So I thought, I'd search for a job. And what's great about Nigeria is that you always have, people say a village. I mean, you have an entire country that's rooting for you. So while my parents had a desire of what they wanted me to do, I had a sense that I wanted to just be independent of them, and so wanted to go find a job. So I had uncles and cousins who helped me, and I got my first job at Centerpoint Investments Limited. Doesn't exist today, but the founder, late Chief Dennis Adife, is a doyen of finance. I mean, he's a doyen of the capital market, and was hired to be in the information technology team. But he thought I would do well in corporate finance, and that's really where it started. I cut the bug, and the rest, I say, is history.
Well, I was going to say that it sounds like you could have done well, because I mean, you did very well in school. Let's face it. I mean, you could have done well in anything you chose to do.
Well, I don't know. There are things I've been. I was one of those who was very fortunate. We had a tennis player, I can't remember her name, who was very popular, who came to Kano and trained some young girls. I don't play tennis today,
Okay,
so I'm a failed tennis player. I'm a failed musician. I love the guitar, I love the piano. My sisters play the organ very well. So there are things that I don't do well.